Let that sink in. Not Cyberpunk 2077, Watch Dogs Legion has self-driving cars. What is up, ladies and gentlemen, Jack here with another video, and 2020 was supposed to be the year. Yes, the year that most people had been looking forward to, because Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to be the game. The game to rule all games. But boy, was I wrong. For some of you who may have been on the channel for quite a bit of time, you may have known me as the guy who completely lost it during the reveal of Cyberpunk 2077. No way! No way! As a hard fan of Cyberpunk 2020, who did dive very deeply into the lore and the tabletop game, I was very disappointed. Now, here's the thing. It's not that the game is absolutely awful, because I had a blast playing it. I had more than 1 terabyte of gameplay footage. When I was thinking to myself, perhaps, just perhaps, I could turn the channel into something that would focus on exactly that. But that's where you have an issue. Because there were a bunch of other channels, just like, for example, Mad Queen, whom I had the pleasure to talk with once, who were very central on that, really made it, pushed it forward as something that was magnificent, right? You had people who had invested so much time covering the lore, giving them free promotion. And what did they do as CD Projekt Red? They push on something that they themselves, like, very ironically, were against. You know, the whole releasing an unfinished product thing. Now, I can't fully blame CDPR for the entire thing, for there were in there artists, there were developers who did a solid job, who continuously still want to back it up. However, it seems that modders are doing a better job at that nowadays. But today, or should I rather say tonight, covering this less than perfect game is max0r with his very inaccurate review of Cyberpunk 2077, so let's jump into this. Cyberpunk and all the different intros.
Cyberpunk 2077 is the long-awaited sequel to Fallout 2076, and as a product represents the entire economic output of the country of Poland. In this game, you play as the Cyberpunk, Keanu Reeves' biggest fan, who creates a tulpa of Keanu Reeves that haunts him for the duration of the game. Now a team, the true and shadow Keanu strive to eke out a living in the dangerous yet rewarding Night City, offering the very best in Californian living conditions. Together, you navigate the dark streets, glitzing high-rises, and mangled faces of this beautiful metropolis, seeking riches and glory as proud members of Hamas. Under the yoke of crushing poverty, systematic oppression, and runaway monopolies, you stand as Night City's final bastion.
The gang of Mechanicus,
underworld of business executives,
basically everybody,
and caps, and every single kind of ethnicity.
Mercenaries, Seth, and then the end caps. This dude
in existence, daring to strike back. It's up to you, and you alone, and you and Keanu Reeves, to navigate this scary world together yourself.
Me, myself, and
to get to the bottom of who, the when, is where, on top of the 6th, the near, whenever, and build this city on rock and roll. But to understand Cyberpunk 2077, you must understand the world of Night City.
Okay, quick thing. Now that soundtrack just played, that's called Dineros. I have that on my playlist for workout. Now, you may wonder why. The reason as to why is that when riding in Night City, one thing that you cannot deny is just the vista system. Just watching the city before you start interacting with stuff is beautiful, right? There hasn't been a game that left me so jaw-dropped at this one. Artistically, it's so gorgeous, but my god, could they not have done more out of it?
Night City is a dangerous place where the internet no longer exists due to nuclear viruses, forcing people to stand up and socialize for entertainment. This has far-reaching consequences on society and has resulted in a decadent morass where the poor are forced to rob you for fun. Crime is at an all-time high, advertisements are in the water, and on top of that, everybody is a cyborg with the equivalent speed of a fucking xenomorph. As a result, the city is populated by a series of stereotypical gangs that you can't join or have quests with. Come on guys, even Todd got this right. These consist of the animals who are buff B-rated broskies who could break my bitch of a back to monkey the fucking breath. Maelstrom bombers who are Adeptus Mechanicus, Moxies who are
Yeah.
ethical cock destroyers and suited up giga prostitutes in charge of worker co-op strip clubs, the Voodoo Boys who are pissed off radical Haitian separatists dedicated to the
Absolute
destruction of
racists.
the white man, Tiger Claws who are the bargain bin yakuza, Valentinos, a generic Hispanic gang who, according to the wiki, have no goals other than seducing women, the Sixth Street gang who are just groypers.
Yeah,
Finally, the Scabs,
they
who
are.
Slavic vaporwave enthusiasts that specialize in kidnapping and harvesting your organs. It therefore really disappoints me when I figured out that I could only interact with these gangs about 3 times each. Their primary purpose is to be repeatedly fucked with without any consequence. I am simply fucking surprised that not even a basic faction system exists.
I know. Look, man, I just pointed out the thing about the Voodoo Boys, right? I really wanted to side with them, especially as I found out what happened after I let out the killer virus to basically wipe them out. But, where do I begin? Look, how was it possible that they had so many variations of great to mediocre side quests, where you could not even side with anybody that could actually have like something meaningful done within the city? That would have been the most perfect thing. Like, it is an RPG after all. In the tabletop, you siding off with different factions give you certain benefits, which this one had not a single thing about. Even Cyberpunk Red, that took place in like 2023? No, 2050, sorry. Did better job than that. Well, anyways, nevertheless, let's keep going.
I once did a favor for a corporate agent in the main quest, and the far-reaching consequences of my decision was that I had sex with her. That's
Yeah.
it. Speaking of corporations, Night City is a place where corporations have run completely amok and are involved in every single level of government through lobbying, which isn't corruption because it has a different name, guys. In the
Nope.
world of Cyberpunk, billionaires are free to coup as many Bolivian governments as they please.
That lithium isn't going to mine itself.
Exploit convict slave labor to make hand soap, make Taiwanese labor laws worse, engage in literal wars, and also mind control the mayor. That's a quest. All hospitals and ambulances are privatized, and you can pay for the deluxe package to arm your paramedics. You paid to go to that hospital, and goddammit, you're gonna fucking get there. Ultimately, the lore and setting of Cyberpunk 2077 is the best aspect of the game by far. You can tell just by looking at every single crevice of the city that a poor Polish femboy slave spent hours modeling every goddamn recycle bin until his hands bled. The game really
Yeah,
sells you on
look
the
at
feeling
it.
of being in a crack den and buying Xanax wrapped in a cassette tape and stapled onto a guy's face. Even the most basic side quest areas make Dark Souls 2 look like it's designed by ants. When someone tells me this game took 8 years to develop, this is why I believe them. The game runs especially well if you have a computer designed to fight God and nothing else.
Definitely.
As controversial as this game's performance is, it can be universally agreed that the music fucking slaps. This game is jam-packed with the most goddamn amazing copyright-free music I have ever seen. All of it sounds like the realistic, as if it is the music of the exist in the Firestone.
yeah.
You got the classic metal, rock, reggae, and Grimes. Grimes is in this fucking game. This is the closest.
Elon, come and get your wife. First, when I heard her voice, I was like, no, she's going to sell me on communism. God damn it, Grimes, what are you doing here? Stop killing. Yo, she killed her husband in the game. Yeah, the hints to real life.
I will ever get to reaching Elon and telling him to stop killing people for lithium. I can only imagine a dude in CDPR HQ talking to a suit like, "Sir, it is imperative to the success of the game that you allow me to create dank reggae music." But now that you're aware of the world of Hyperfuck 2077, it's time to get into the combat.
Shoot. Holes in the
When
sun.
you first play the gameplay mechanics won't seem that complex, and every enemy is kind of a bullet sponge. This will persist until you unlock the gigantic mantis blades that protrude from your arms and fly 15 feet forward into most enemies like a xenomorph. This is the only goddamn RPG besides Skyrim where melee isn't just viable, it's fucking optimal. I didn't even try to hack or do stealth after I figured this out. Ultimately, the game isn't afraid to let you break it in terms of damage numbers and lets you experiment with maybe 2 or 3 different main specializations on top of the basic shooter gameplay. If you stick to a
I like
basic
the
rifle
whip.
and try to do something like aim at enemies like a fucking idiot, you're gonna have a bad time. So what I recommend is stacking crit damage over several orders of magnitude with a revolver
That
and
was smart.
killing every single enemy you see. Any shooter that encourages you to be mobile in a fight is more fun than sitting in a corner and blinking, and Cyberpunk gives a lot of incentives to move. Cyberpunk is also a game where you not only modify skills in a tree, but metal in a body, such as passive bonuses that I don't care about, and the goddamn gorilla arms. Do I need to say more?
Return to monkey.
Although when it comes to all these different weapons and
Yes.
specializations, it seems that there isn't much variety in how you specialize. Whatever happened to Skyrim giving an entire skill tree dedicated to just being a werewolf? Tech pistols, smart pistols, stupid pistols, revolvers, burst fire. Have bonuses for all of them or none of them. The combat is fun, but there isn't that much to it, which is why it reminds me of Borderlands. There's also the driving gameplay, and it feels like ice skating on a pool of frozen lubricant and dozens of ropes.
Forget about driving
have the stopping distance of several fucking city blocks and want to drift for literally every turn. It is faster in this game to delete your save file and create a new one if you want to travel back to your fucking house. This is because Night City ran out of rubber in the year 2040 and have subsequently been making tires out of the increasingly rotted corpse of the Michelin Man. When it comes to the open world or dynamic gameplay, I'm really glad that it didn't take the GTA 5 route where you play tennis once and then get fucking bored.
Mr. Boss for the win here. In this video, I'm showing you guys a full-length tennis match.
Instead, the game saturates itself with small, numerous side quests where 90% of the time you're paid to go somewhere, kill everyone, and then leave with no nuance. The side quests are the dynamic gameplay. This isn't a game where you go hunting. My biggest issue with the entire game thus far is that the side quests are either William Shakespeare fucking masterpieces, or they have micro-stories that are summarized in 2 sentences.
And for example, I've mentioned the whole Regina Jones stuff. She brings you a side quest where you have to kill some psychos. Basically people who went psycho. They lost, or at least either the occupants or themselves that drove them crazy. And you have to take them down. I think that there were about 25 of them. And as you are done with it, it's so anticlimactic. No big stuff, nothing that perhaps would have affected the story. None at all. The same thing applies with the thing with her gun. Like, you get a smart pistol that she owns that is able to talk, that has like a... what's it called? Skippy? That has like a fun little bullet AI, and it targets people. It has a fun dialogue, but like... those things range from something wonderful, but like... It's infuriating that nothing good come out of it.
Let's walk through a side quest. You go to drive a weird guy somewhere. He gets out of the car, goes to the store. Oh no, he actually robbed the store. Then you kill everyone. Congrats, the quest is over. No further development. Fuck you. I would trade 8 of these fucking quests.
That's not quite that. Okay, fair. As that single one, true. But you get to meet him afterwards. You get to fight with him in the pool, and he blows himself up. Now, I'm not saying that that is the best thing in the world at all. There was a whole backstory to him in Brazil. but it's like, one should not need to know about the backstory of something to enjoy a quest, right? That shouldn't be the prerequisite for you to get why something ends the way it ends. So yeah, I give it to max0r.
To get a decent one. It's like you're playing a weird mixture between Fallout New Vegas and a Ubisoft game. The Witcher 3 had something similar, but in The Witcher 3 I was actually surprised sometimes. Let's look at the better half of this. There are side quests that are fucking 8 missions long. You learn the entire backstory for an ensemble of enterprising actors and then crucify them.
Oh yeah!
I can't stress enough how actually godlike the writing for these quests are. When the developers decide to write words.
An impressive cop.
There is a side quest in this game involving a meticulous search for a skilled detective to track down and locate a serial killer using only your wits. An underground battle for control of a strip club from the clutches of organized crime. And a complex family feud in a biking
that
game.
ending was actually
I can
good.
play the same murder spree in a single room 16 fucking times. This game is like reading 6 dirty copies of War and Peace, and then every 20 pages you have to stare at cardboard. Imagine for a moment that you're a Militech guard in the beautiful Night City. You see this weird guy running down the street wearing 14 different colors like a goddamn clown, when suddenly his arms open up like a fucking alien to reveal 2 gigantic sword-like appendages, and he leaps directly into you from 15 feet away. Your buddy goes to shoot him, but instead of fighting back, the fucker disassembles an entire rifle in front of him. And once he's done killing everyone, he sits perfectly still for 24 hours straight. That is the true open-world experience. Do you remember playing Fallout New Vegas and having so many interesting little elements to the quests and their effect on the world that you never had to find the fun? Well, most of Crying Trunk's quests had me going, oh yeah, this is a video game. I never felt like these quests improved my relationship with Freeside or helped the NCR.
Yeah.
They were just there to waste my time. In fact, let's stop comparing things to Fallout New Vegas forever, since it's the perfect game. Don't let Todd hear about this conversation. That aside, there are a good 30 to 40 hours of meaningful content in this game. You don't have to do all the gigs, unless you're reviewing the game. Then you might just have to. Night City also suffers from an issue where all the police are in a state of quantum superposition where they are both far away and nearby at all times. Meaning, if a citizen were to commit a crime, the cops would simply quantum...
But you can't drive in Night City. We've already stated that. So why do we need police?
Directly outside their cone of vision. This is because the aforementioned Michelin droughts of 2040 caused the police to give up driving entirely. There is no driving AI in the game. Nobody can drive, not even you. This is why the cops teleport, because they can't actually drive
so dumb.
Crimes, so the game pretends you don't notice, but you fucking notice. It just makes the world feel kind of dumb and not that reactive.
I mean, even Watch Dogs 3 or Legion of all games managed to do this perfectly. They had self-driving cars. Let that sink in. Not Cyberpunk 2077, Watch Dogs Legion has self-driving cars. Not just taxis, your own vehicle can deliver you to your destination with an AI telling you when you arrive and or departure. CDPR, what are you doing?
It's not fun to commit crimes in Night fucking City. There aren't enough dynamic mechanics to make the world feel alive, which is fine, but the picosecond quests aren't filling the fucking gap. No. Which is a shame, because the world design almost does. I'm not going to forget about Little Japan's shitty alleyways filled with hollow prostitutes, Watson's red glow at night, the Badlands rotting windmills, or how in Pacifica they want me dead for killing that innocent girl in 2004. So when you're done with your first 40 hours of epic adventures, daring escapes, and thrilling car chases, the game doesn't seem to have enough to keep me playing. But let's rewind for a moment to talk about what makes those first 40 hours satisfying and fun.
That story.
Spoilers
it starts
for
well.
the rest of the video. I've saved this part for last, in case you're a child or seeing this 10 years from now after Mecha-G's world takeover. In which case, like The Witcher 3, the main quest is actually not written by gorillas. In the years following Skyrim's release, Polish scientists were able to extract and locate the hidden element known as being fucking subtle, and are mostly able to apply it to the world of Cyberpunk 2077. The game is willing to stop and give you quiet moments with the characters, as if they're written to be like people, and not the apes that live near Ubisoft Montreal. Speaking of characters, the main quest is primarily comprised of V, the world's last schizophrenic, and Keanu Reeves, who plays as himself, and even then he's improperly cast.
Are you still
Nakamura.
rolling?
It's hard to see Keanu as a super badass through his overacting voice, but that's okay because the game does everything else in its power to make sure that you think he is badass, and it works. The sections where you play as Johnny are straight up power fantasies where you use Keanu's dashing looks to invoke the mythical female.
Yo, when playing as Jolly Silverhand and his magnificent one-hand reloading gun, and that Rebel Path soundtrack starts playing, oh, you know you've got places. Those were some very good moments.
Orgasm. The story of Cyberpunk is one where the true and shadow Keanu begin in opposition, but through a slow web of corporate entanglement, gang warfare, and strip club participation, learn to love one another and grow as people, except only Johnny grows as a person. This is for the best, because V can look like Peter Griffin, and goddammit, I want to roleplay as Peter fucking Griffin. The game also introduces villains that I love and can understand their fuck mentality. For most villains, like Placide, you don't even think of them as villains, just people acting in their own interests. Like Stalin, Cyberpunk is able to effectively frame its struggles as a story of survival, of personal interest against what is truly right, which is why I can sympathize with Johnny for causing 9/11. And though I don't agree, I can totally understand Saburo's decision to melt those orphans into useful paper.
Oh, the Arasaka.
The mentality of these people uniquely corresponds to the wider world, one where human life means nothing, and everyone is out for themselves, just like America. What I didn't appreciate is that through the game, the main quest gives you a false sense of urgency when there is none. Peter Griffin repeatedly suffers from schizophrenic episodes that cause his eyeballs to enter screensaver.
Yes! Oh, I shot that out of my mind. What happened to the bloody chip? I went from, okay, I think I get it too. This is some absolute bullshit. It's constantly telling you that you're dying. I'm a freaking killing machine. How is it possible that we didn't find something to take it out of me? Soul killer my ass.
Every single character in existence urges you to finish the story and save your life as fast as possible, but it will never matter until the plot decides that it matters. If you do all of the side quests, V is the equivalent of a sickly paper bag carrying a shotgun with 50 hydraulic toasters attached, and one of those toasters used to be a rock star before a geriatric Japanese man ate his soul. The game insists that you're weak and dying, when in reality you've killed thousands of people out the fucking hospital window, and it's jarring. Lastly, people are mad online that you can't continue after the main quest because they are wombats, and if You fucker
please.
somehow convinced CDPR to patch in a post-game I will eat a cricket on camera. Is this game worth your money? Probably. Unless you have a PS4, in which case you've already been sent to the black pit of shale from which you will never return. I'd like to thank the monetary contributions of the oil barons and media conglomerates that fund my channel and keep it operational. If you would like to contribute your blood diamond money harvested from the recesses of African child labor, you can head to my Patreon to learn more. Thank you all for watching, and of course, death to Arasaka.
Paid for by Militech. Sure. Okay. Okay, guys, this was a wonderful video. max0r, I think that he brought all the thought that I may have had on the game. Still, I mean, I would have loved it to be as successful as my mind has it in, but unfortunately it wasn't. But guys, with that said though, I wish you all to have a wonderful evening. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Hit that like and also subscribe button to see more, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.